Good morning. It is Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. Yeah, and I had told my husband, because he's off today since it's a holiday, and I had told him I didn't want to stay around the house. I'd like to get out for a little while. Yeah, guess where I'm at? I'm at a car lot. He decided that, oh, we should look at cars. But yeah, not exactly the way I wanted to spend my day, and I'm sure though that he's just going to stop at a couple and we'll do something else. Anyways, I'll talk to you in a little while. We're in a lovely little town in Spartansburg, PA, and this is a community that has a lot, sorry for the wind, of Amish, and I believe there is picnic going on for the Amish today. That's a mill. It's beautiful out here. Looks like there's people in kayaks way out there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them. And we're just going to head back over. Yeah, we're having a bit of a downpour. I don't think we need any more rain. Oh my goodness, I wonder how many picnics have been disrupted by this. And how many people have had to run for shelter. Because it was a beautiful day with the sun shining and it was up in the 70s, and yeah, suddenly the sun went away and the heavens let loose. I thought maybe you would be interested in what works for killing ants. And I found this by just doing a few Google searches, and I honestly did not have the products that they were saying I needed, at least not all of them. So what I did is I had two of the products. I had peppermint essential oil and I had alcohol. They recommended vodka, but I don't drink, so I don't have vodka. And I really wasn't going to run out to get vodka, so I had seen where one site said you could substitute vodka with alcohol. So what I did, and I didn't even have a spray bottle, so I only had this tiny little 2-ounce spray bottle, and I was desperate because I have dogs. I don't want my dogs around the chemicals that are going to potentially harm them. So I didn't know if it was going to work, and I didn't really want to waste my essential oils, so I filled this little 2-ounce bottle halfway with alcohol, just regular rubbing alcohol. And then I added 20 drops of peppermint essential oil. And I just shook it up and I sprayed where they were coming in. And it was a strange place. They were coming in our bathroom. I think they were coming in the window area and coming in. And they were the tiny, tiny, tiny little black ants. And yeah, totally killed them, and no more ants. Now, I did see about a week later 2 more ants in that same spot. I sprayed again, and there was no more ants. So I'm thinking that probably because it's in a bathroom, it probably will need to be, redone every once in a while. But hey, you know what? If you have ants coming in your house and you have nothing else, you most likely have alcohol and peppermint essential oil. So I would think that just about any hot essential oil would work, whether it was peppermint or it was spearmint or even a really hot one like oregano, or that would probably work also. So anyways, I just thought I'd let you know because it was a lifesaver for me. I don't like bugs. I hope everybody's had just a wonderful Memorial Day and that your day was just filled with lots of fun and activities. And Rick and I spent the day together, and no, as you could see, we did not just look at cars. Thank you, Father. But we ended up also going out and getting a little bit of lunch, and we just had a very pleasant afternoon. But today, I would like us to read from Acts chapter 8, verse 4. Now, those who were scattered went about preaching the word. In the beginning of Jesus' ministry, he calls the first disciples and tells them that they will be fishers of men. And then at the end of his ministry on earth, the last commandment that he gives is for them to make disciples of all the nations. And it's easy to read these and imagine that these commandments were only for the disciples or those who have been called specifically for God or by God to grow the church. The first verse in chapter 8 of Acts tells us that there arose a great persecution in Jerusalem, and God was working powerfully through the disciples, and a lot of people, they weren't liking it. And our verse 4, tells us that those who were scattered because of the persecution just kept preaching and the church kept growing. But I want to point out that these people in verse 4 were not the original 12 disciples. They weren't the ones that Jesus had said he would make fishers of men and commanded to make disciples. They weren't the men who spent 3 years with Jesus on earth. You see, the disciples had stayed in Jerusalem, and you'll find that in verse 14 of chapter 8 in Acts. It was the average person like you and me that went and made disciples, went about preaching the word. The commandment to make disciples wasn't just for a certain group of people, but for every Christian. The early church would have never have grown as it did if the first Christians thought it was the job of the disciples to do the disciple making. It also isn't the job of our paid clergy either. Disciple making is the job of every believer. So with that, I want to remind you, life happens. Let's enjoy it. And a disciple is a person who is a pupil or a follower of the doctrines of another. If you are a Christian, you are a disciple. So, who are you discipling? I'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless.